Well, guys, I hate to say it, but it looks like Shopify's dead again.
Alright, what's up guys? This is Jake with Casual Ecommerce, and in this video we're going to be going over 3 different brand hacks you can use to immediately implement into your stores to where you can take your branding and conversions to the next level. So with that said, let's just go ahead and get right into the content. Okay guys, so tip number 1 is actually going to seem sort of simplistic, however it really isn't, and it's often overlooked by a lot of people, and I notice a lot of people don't seem to take much time, put much effort into this. And no, we're not going to be covering things like logos, color schemes, and theme selection in this video, just because I feel like those are the more obvious branding type things. Now that doesn't lessen the importance of those things, those are extremely important. However, I wanted to cover 3 things that maybe you don't immediately think of when you think about how to brand your store to the next level. So the first one is actually going to be picking a great name. Now I know this seems kind of obvious, pretty simplistic, but it really isn't. So many people seem to half-ass this part of Shopify store creation and branding. A lot of people just seem to pick the first name that comes to their head. They don't really put much thought into it, and a lot of times it's some super generic ass name. There's no brand to it whatsoever. It's not a memorable name that's going to stick in somebody's head. So when you're trying to pick a great store name, you want something that kind of fits with the emotion of, you know, the brand image that you're trying to create. You want something that's going to be memorable in your customers' minds. That way, you know, whenever they think of so-and-so niche, they associate it with your specific brand. So this is something that a lot of people just seem to put up really generic type names. Like, let's say you're in the pet niche, it'll just be like discount pet store or something like that, and that's just not branded at all. That's like a D. If we're grading the level of brand in your name, that's definitely a D. Like, a lot of people's names, they're just not very creative and they're not very brandable at all. And like I said, this seems simplistic, but I'd say literally like 1 out of 10 stores that I look at have an actual solid brand name. Instead, it's just some generic stuff that looks like it was rehashed and not even thought about. And can you make sales with names like that? Of course you can, but are you going to build a powerhouse brand, which is what we're talking about in this video? Are you going to build that with a name like that? Most likely not. So tip number 1 is going to be, think of a great name, a unique name that no one else has in the niche, that is going to implant itself into your customer's memory, so that way you can slowly build up a subconscious relationship with your customers moving forward. So that's going to be tip number 1, simplistic but often overlooked. So tip number 2 is going to actually be to go ahead and display photos of your customers using or demonstrating your product all over your site, not just the product page, but maybe even the home page. And this is something that people think is out of reach. Well, how can I do this if I haven't generated any sales? Well, one thing you can do is, if it's an AliExpress product, you can go ahead and look at the reviews and sort the reviews by reviews that have photos. And if there's photos of customers using that specific product, you can go ahead and just save those photos and put them on your website, and then boom, you have customer photos. Or you can obviously order the product yourself, send it to a couple of your friends, your family, something like that, get them to get some customer photos as well. And this is really important for branding, because obviously if it looks like nobody's ever used your product before, it's going to be really hard to establish a powerhouse brand. So being able to get photos of your customer actually using your product in action is going to take your branding to the next level, especially if you can put that on your homepage and your product page and different things like that. So like I said, if you're drop shipping products from, say, AliExpress, then you can go ahead and look through the reviews, and there's definitely going to be most likely customer reviews where they uploaded photos with the product, and you can go ahead and just use those in your store. So that's going to be tip number 2, is getting customer photos and then putting them all over your store. This is going to help take your branding and your trust to the next level, which is going to help boost conversions. And then tip number 3 is going to be to provide excellent customer service. So this is another thing that's often overlooked in e-commerce. People think that you don't really have to do much customer service at all. They mainly go for the one upfront sale and then just never want to speak to that customer again, and that's just not how you play business for the long term. So if you're trying to create a long-term powerhouse type brand, even if you're trying to just create a pseudo brand to take advantage of a trend for the short term, you're still going to want to do these type of long-term tactics. That way you can I guess emulate the fact that, or simulate the fact that you've been open for a significant amount of time, so that way you can increase your conversions even in the short term. So providing excellent customer service is the #1 way to go ahead and produce repeat buyers, which is obviously just free revenue, but also it's a good way to get good customer feedback, whether it's reviews or like positive emails reaching out saying they like your product. So customer service is something that, you know, especially nowadays in 2018, is often very robotic. So if you add a personal touch to it and your customers feel a genuine connection with you, they're going to be a lot more likely to come back and buy if your customer support is excellent, because a lot of customer support is very mediocre nowadays due to the fact that everything's online and automated and everything's outsourced. And even if you outsource customer support with a VA or something, it's still pretty easy to go ahead and produce high quality customer support. So that's going to be tip #3, is to use excellent customer service. That way your customers will want to continue to come back, and they will also go ahead and tell their friends and family members about your brand as well. So just to recap the 3 tips from this video: #1, go ahead and actually take some effort and come up with a great name. Don't come up with some generic BS name that your 3-year-old sister could come up with. Come up with a great brandable name. And then #2, get as many photos of customers using your product as possible. This is a huge brand hack and huge brand credibility. This adds a ton of credibility to your store and trust, and it will skyrocket your conversion rates. And then #3, make sure to go ahead and provide excellent customer service. This is something that can help you stand apart from other competitors within the same niche, because a lot of people will provide, like I said, mediocre customer service nowadays. So if you like videos like this, you like quick tips like this, go ahead, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think of stuff like this in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in another video.